Hello, dear viewers. Namaskar. Welcome to Moksha Media. You are with Moksha Heremat. After the disappearance of Vijayanagara Empire in the 16th and 17th centuries, Karnataka faced many problems. So many feudals who were under the reign of Vijayanagara Empire were declared themselves as the kings of those provinces. Of course, after the defeat of Tippu in the hands of English men, there was no one to question Britishers. The entry of Britishers defeating Tippu became a dominant one or prominent one in the history of Karnataka in particular and India in general. Karnataka was already divided after the reign of Vijayanagara Empire. Again, Britishers divided it as they liked. Whatever was convenient, whatever made them rich, that was executed by the British. So, there was no one to question the British rule. So, Karnataka was divided into 6 provinces after the entry of British administration. British Mysore province under the reign of Wadiyars, Nizam's area under the reign of Nizam Ali, Bombay province under the reign of Britishers, Madras province in the control of Britishers, and Kodagu, an independent administration, and the small provinces such as Saunur in the reign of a Nawaba and Jamkandi in the reign of a Hindu feudal. Like this, Karnataka was divided into, it was split into 6 provinces. The existence of Kannada was in danger. The Kannada language and culture faced many problems. In Nizam's area, Urdu and Telugu were prominent. In Bombay, Karnataka, that is in Bombay province, Marathi was prominent. In Madras, Tamil was prominent. And in Mysore, Kannada was a prominent language. but the area was small. And in other states, other languages were dominant. They were imposing their culture and tradition on Karnatakans and on Kannadigas. So at that time, Kannada language, literature, and culture faced a lot. In order to survive, in order to have its own existence, Kannada language, literature, and culture required some associations, some organizations, leaders, and personalities. Especially in Bombay province, in which Uttara Karnataka, that is North Karnataka, consisting the states of or the districts of Bijapur, Belgaum, Dharwad, North Canara, etc., were under the control of Marathi officers and English administrators. In the province of Madras, Tamilians were dominant and Telugus were dominant even in the heart of that Bellary district now. And in Nizam's area, the Urdu was prominent. All these languages were dominant and they were dictating Kannada culture, language, and literature. So the survival of Kannada was very prominent at that time. So many organizations, associations were emerged at that time. And Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha at Dharwad is one of them. Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha played a prominent and dominant role in the years of 1850s and in the 18th century, 19th century, and 20th century, we can see. At that time, Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha was emerged and stood to guard the interest of Karnataka and Kannadigas. Persons like R.H. Deshapande struggled very hard to establish an institution like Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha. We cannot deny the role of R.H. Deshapande in establishing Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha. It was established at a time when the existence of Kannada and Karnataka was in danger. Of course, so many persons fought for the existence of Kannada culture, language, and literature. Persons like Deputy Channabasappa, Rodda Srinivas Rao, Aratal Rudragowda, foreign missionaries such as Ferdinand Kittel, Mogling, W. Russell, Garrett, B. L. Rice, and etc. tried their best to safeguard the interest of Kannada and its culture. And these persons were brilliant, and they had a good academic career. If they meant for money, they could mint money like anything. But money was not the part and parcel of their lives. They stood for culture and continuity of humanity. That is why they tried the alternatives to safeguard the interest of people in general. At that time, persons like R.H. Deshpande, who was a foresighted and far-sighted academician, writer, organizer, journalist, and etc., tried his best to establish Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha. So, with all those efforts, Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha was established on July 20th in 1890. With the efforts of so many persons and personalities, Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha was established on 20th July 1890. At that time, even Kannada Parishatu was not yet dreamt. Left the establishment of Karnataka Sahitya Parishatu at that time. Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha initiated to establish Kannada Sahitya Parishatu. Now we talk of Kannada Sahitya Parishatu. But we should keep in our mind, before Kannada Sahitya Parishatu, Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha played main role in safeguarding the interest of Karnatakans and Kannada and its culture. So, in the month of November, in which we are celebrating the Kannada as a state language, as an official language, as one of the constitutional languages, we should remember this Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha. If Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha was not established at that time, it was very difficult for the survival of Kannada language and literature. Anyhow, that credit goes to Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha and persons who tried their best in establishing Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha. So, after the establishment of Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha at Dharwad, on 20th July 1890, that Sangha projected and focused on so many activities. It knew Kannada should live and survive through books, journals, and the activities. That is why they started so many activities. That is the activities of awakening the people through lectures, through fairs and festivals, through executing some cultural, through maintaining or through conducting some cultural activities, and etc. etc. But the publication was the starting, that is the beginning of a journal, was very important at that time. So Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha began a journal for the first time in Bombay province in the language of Kannada in 1896. The caption of that journal was Vagbhushana. That Vagbhushana supported many upcoming poets, writers, researchers, historians, philosophers, folklorists, cultural activists, essayists, etc. etc. It supported innumerable activities because those were the days of journalism. The credit should go to Britishers who introduced journalism in India and particularly in Karnataka. Because that introduction of journalism in Karnataka itself was a good achievement at that time. After the appearance of that press, printing press, which boosted the publication books and letters, and gazettes played a prominent thing in pushing and pumping the Kannada cause. Persons like R.H. Deshapande used it at their best. They started so many Kannada schools, and English officers like W. Russell supported it and helped to establish Kannada schools. And in a minimum period of time, hundreds of Kannada schools were started in Bombay province itself. Now we boast of, we have started this school and those primary schools in villages which don't have the primary schools. And of course, now we know, today we open Kannada primary schools in the villages and tomorrow those schools will be closed. That's the position of our government nowadays. But in those days, primary schools were opened where even minimum necessities were not there, But we have so many facilities now. Digital revolution is here. Printing press is at its best now. We can sit in a corner of a room and click a mouse sitting before a laptop or tab, and we can have a lot of information. And work culture is also differed. Sitting at home, we can work from home. Of course, work from home itself is a style of work. Now, so many techies are habituated to that workplace. If company tells them to come to office, of course, so many techies would like to resign to that company because they would like to sit at home and work from home in so many cases. That shows to what extent the work style is differed and to what extent we have so many modern amenities nowadays. But even today, we are going to close so many Kannada schools here and there. Thousands of schools were closed within a short span of period. But on the other hand, we say we celebrate the Kannada as a Nada Habba in the month of November, etc., etc. Of course, our politicians are not that much of worth to keep their promises. If they keep the promises, they keep it in the words, but not in the actions. But for us, actions are very important, Those actions would change the things, would change the atmosphere, but not the words. Words and action should go hand in hand. We do what we speak. We speak what we do. That is the real personality of a person. But here, that culture, that cult is disappeared. But at that time, when freedom fighters fought against the foreign rule, they stood for what they said and they said what they did. That was the good culture, But nowadays, such best culture is missed. It is disappeared to an extent that should not be talked of. But in such a situation, Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha was established at Dharwad. It started the journal Vagbhushana and supported it. It published hundreds of books at that time, even when the press was not, printing press was not that much of in a good condition. It supported the writers. It rewarded the writers in the form of money. It executed so many activities, even in the village, in the districts, in the taluks, in the villages. So, with all these activities, that Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha tried its best to safeguard the interest of Kannada, Karnataka, and its unification. Now we talk of dividing Karnataka into this state and that state. We talk of splitting Karnataka again and again. But once upon a time, our ancestors fought for the unification of Karnataka. But now we are going to split Karnataka again and again in the name of this thing or that thing. And not only that, that Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha initiated for the establishment of Kannada Sahitya Parishattu. Kannada Sahitya Parishattu is established in the month of May, I think, in 1915. Not only that Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha initiated to start Karnataka University, Karnataka Research Center, and radio station at Dharwad, etc., etc. Especially in the parts of Mysore, that is especially in Dakshina Kannada, in Dakshina Karnataka, not Dakshina Kannada. In Dakshina Karnataka, so many persons don't know anything about Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha. But it was a person from north, from Dharwad, by name R.H. Deshapande, advised Mokshagundam Vishweswaraya to start an associate, to start a Sangha, a Parishattu, to safeguard Kannada and its language. Because R.H. Deshapande was an intimate with, he had an intimacy with Mokshagundam Vishweswaraya. While congratulating Mokshagundam Vishweswaraya on his diwanship, he told him to start a Sangha like Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha. Mokshagundam Vishweswaraya took those words of R.H. Deshapande to his heart and he initiated further actions in order to establish Kannada Sahitya Parishattu. Of course, Kannada literary meets were also conducted by Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha. It started the literary meet, that is, it conducted a first literary meet, textbook writers literary meet, in the year of 1907. At that time, S.G. became the president of that literary meet. So, whatever Karnataka Vidyavardhaka did at that time, he has been doing and is doing also nowadays. The Kannada Sahitya Parishattu is trying nowadays. Of course, whatever it does has been practiced now by Kannada Sahitya Parishattu. Of course, Kannada Sahitya Parishattu has its own importance. We should not deny the importance of Kannada Sahitya Parishattu. Even it has so many activities, this or that. I don't want to get into the activities of Kannada Sahitya Parishattu at this time. But we should give due importance to Kannada Sahitya Parishattu for its activities for safeguarding the interest of Kannada and its culture, no doubt about it. But at the same time, we Karnatakans, Kannadigas, should not forget the contribution of Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha established at Dharwad at that time. That is my point. It published so many books, very important books, hundreds of books in the field of poetry, prose, research, history, Puranas, myths, children's stories, essays, dramas, folk songs, bailatas, yakshaganas, etc., etc., etc. Of course, they are innumerable. And persons like Patil Puttappa and R.H. Deshapande played prominent role in spreading these activities to the remote areas of Karnataka. Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha tried its best for the unification of Karnataka. Of course, Karnataka is unified, not as our ancestors dreamt, but anyhow, it is unified, but now we are trying to de-unify it. We are trying to split it. So, like this, Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha played a dominant and prominent role before independence and after independence also. We require such institutions, we require such sanghas, but not the divisive sanghas. Our digital media propagates divisive sanghas and forces, but not the sanghas which unifies us. We have sanghas, so many organizations which try to bridge the gap among ours. It tries to stitch the broken parts or the damaged clothes. But at the same time, there are so many forces which try to de-establish it. And in such a position, the establishment of Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha at Dharwad comes to our mind. So, we are celebrating Karnataka festival in the month of November every year. So we should remember that Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha at Dharwad, because it is a mother institution for all the institutions which fight for Karnataka, or which are fighting for Karnataka, Kannada, its language and culture. So in such a situation, uh, uh, on such occasions, or in such situations, in such conditions, it is our bounden duty to add off to Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha at Dharwad. The people in the other parts of Karnataka should remember it. If they forget Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha, definitely they are going to face danger for the existence of Karnataka, Kannada, literature, language, culture and lifestyle. So all these things should be remembered. All these things should be thanked. All these sanghas, all these persons should be remembered in this month of November when we are celebrating Kannada festival. So, at the same time, we should not forget persons Ramachandra Rao, Hanumanta Rao Deshpande and Patil Puttappa for establishing and continuing the spirit of selflessness, the spirit of guarding the interest of Karnataka and Kannada language. Afterwards, so many persons did it, no doubt about it. We also thank them. We also show our gratitude to them. But at the time, when it was in danger, these persons fought very bravely and guarded the interest of common people, and they showed the model for us. They keep the model before us. So that is why here we have to remember Karnataka Vidyavardhaka Sangha at Dharwad. I hope the viewers have caught my point. Share and subscribe. See you in the next episode. Namaskar.